5 vintage slabs, including some holy grails. All right, guys, you know what time it is. Just got back a new box from CGC with some sports magazines and going to share with you what we got in today. This is a vintage box. The vintage are always more fun, and I'm telling you right now, some of the biggest issues that are out there are in this box. So let's jump right in. We're going to talk about my projections. We're going to talk about pop reports, sales, cover details, all that type of stuff. So of these 5, we've got 4 first covers, and then we have 1, which is this one, which is actually a very unique publication. So we're going to start with this. This is from 1971, and this is Black Sports Magazine. This is issue number 1 of Black Sports Magazine. So if you look in here, Black Sports, and it says premier issue, you've got Lew Alcindor, also known as Kareem Abdul Jabbar, and Oscar Robertson, both on the cover. So really cool cover. This was the first magazine that was put out that was like specifically targeted towards Black people and focused specifically on just Black athletes. And some other similar publications followed, but this was really the first one to do it. And as I said, 1971 was the first issue. Only ran until 1978, so it didn't have a super long run. Now, let me tell you about this copy in particular that I have in my hands. This is a tragedy because here's what happened. This cover, if you look at it, I mean, do you see any defects? No, you really don't. This thing had a legitimate shot at being like a 9.8. I mean, probably 9.4 at the minimum. It was pristine. And so the significance, I think, of, this being the first issue, the fact that it had 2 really awesome athletes with great cover shots, and the fact that it was in amazing condition, those are the factors why I sent this in. But here's what happened. After I pressed this puppy, I pulled it out, and I noticed that there was a spine split several inches long that appeared after I pressed it. It was not there before I put it in the presser. So this is really kind of the first instance I've ever had of one of my magazines getting a little bit damaged. And I don't know why. I mean, a spine split from pressing can be an indication that maybe your press was tightened too tight, that the clamp was too tight. But I didn't use a setting that was any different than what I use for other magazines of this thickness. So I honestly just kind of feel like it was an anomaly. Maybe the spine was already just not super strong. Whatever happened, definitely a disappointment because look what it brought me down to, a 4.0. And the grader's notes said, I mean, I don't recall there being really any other notes on there other than it said long spine split. And so you're going to get absolutely decimated for something like that. As you can see, I mean, this went down from a 9+ all the way to a 4.0. So really bummer. Honestly, that kind of takes, any potential value out of this one. I'll probably still hold on to it just because I do think it is kind of cool and historically significant a little bit. So there have been 4 copies of this graded. There's a 9.4, a 9.2, a 7.5, and now there's a 4.0 and no sales. So this is definitely the biggest disappointment of this box. The other 4 are major W's. So let's move on to the next. All right. Look at that vintage ad on the back. Pedwin shoes. Never heard of them. This is from 1965, and this is the first cover for Hall of Famer Jerry West. Really tough issue. It's an illustration done by Bob Peak. Yes, Bob Peak. And yeah, I got this. I'm pretty sure I picked this up on eBay for like $10 or something like that. Super happy about that pickup. I projected a 3.0, so also super happy about the 5.0 coming back. I mean, this one I thought was really beat up, and I'm actually surprised I got the 5. This particular grader on this box seemed to be nicer than some of the previous ones I've had, and that can just be how it is. Sometimes there's some inconsistency a little bit between graders. You don't always know what you're going to get, but also I will say it gets harder and harder to project super closely once you get down into these lower ranges than it is, when you're up in the 8s and 9s. So this is the first of 5 covers for Jerry West. Jerry West of the Lakers, from Cabin Creek to Hollywood and Vine. Jerry West grew up in West Virginia, was a real quiet guy. Watched a documentary on him about how difficult the transition was for him to, move to Los Angeles. But I mean, went on to be an absolute legend. He's the NBA logo. Really, honestly, at this point, I think he's super. His career is very underrated. He doesn't get talked about as much anymore, but that's just because, I mean, this is now almost 60 years old. This copy, only 6 newsstand copies of this graded. Really, really tough. And how about this? The leader is a 7.0. You don't see that too often for a key cover of a Hall of Famer, that the leader, the highest, is only a 7.0. So of the 6 graded, there's a 7, a 6.5, there's 2 6s, there's my 5, and then there's also a 2.5. And one of the 6s sold in April for $200, which really surprised me. I think that is a really low price with how rare and tough this cover is to find. But super pumped to have this one. Jerry West first cover 5.0. Next up, I'm telling you, these are some great vintage issues in this box right here. All right, we got another first cover. Man, Twist. Is that a menthol, lemon menthol, 100%? I don't even know what that is. That's cigarettes? It's cigarettes. Okay, cigarettes. This is from 1974, and this is the first cover for Dr. J, Julius Erving. What's up, Doc J? Playing with the Nets in the ABA, got the tall socks, going up for the slam with that ABA basketball. Man, he's got the fro, of course. Old school Dr. J is about as cool as it gets. So first cover, 5.5. I again projected a 3.0 because this was another one that pretty beat up. You can see, like, look at that bottom corner there. Got some major creasing and color break, and the spine is all torn up. There's a lot of just kind of scuffing. I mean, the back spine has got a bunch of issues. So another one, I was surprised. I, went 3.0 and I got a 5.5. Very, very pleased with that, of course. And let's see here. So 21 copies of this one graded. And as a 5.5, it's a pop one with 17 higher. So the majority are higher, but really low pop count with only 21. Happy to have this. 8.0 newsstand, sold in March for $690. So no doubt that the Dr. J first cover is collectible. All right. 2 more. These are grails. These are both grails right here. This is 1963. Check this guy out. Oh, yeah. Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali, first cover, 5.0. This is the first copy I've owned of this. This first copy I've owned of any of these, but this is such a huge one. I mean, this is pretty much a consensus top 3 Sports Illustrated cover as far as collectability and potential value goes. Again, I projected a 3.0, and again, this grader was super kind to me and gave me a 5, and love it. So here's the story on this one. I purchased this in January on eBay. There was a seller on eBay who put a ton of issues, a ton of really key, like big time covers up for sale on eBay. And I remember there being a ton of buzz on our Facebook group about this because people were bidding on these big covers, but you could tell if you looked closely that the majority of them had had their labels removed. And so there was a bunch of talk on there like, hey guys, watch out from this seller. He's selling a bunch of labels removed. They weren't listed as label removed. I don't remember if he used the word newsstand or not. But he didn't specifically say subscription label removed, and a bunch of people were falling for it and buying all these issues. Well, I was looking really closely at all these because I'm telling you, there were some major covers on there. And yeah, the majority of them you could see a label had been removed. But one thing that really jumped out to me was he had a Tiger Woods first cover posted. And the first cover for Tiger was very clearly a newsstand because if you know, the Tiger first cover was from 1996, and Sports Illustrated switched right around 1994 is when they went away from the sticker mailing labels and they moved to where the labels were actually printed on the front of the cover. So anything, after 1994, you can always have 100% certainty on whether or not it's a newsstand or a subscription. And the Tiger that he posted, the Tiger first cover, which is a huge cover, was obviously a newsstand because it didn't have the address label printed on the cover. So when I saw that, I'm like, okay, this is weird. This guy is posting a bunch of really big covers, and I can see that a lot of them are subscription label removed, but at least a couple of these are legit newsstands because look at this Tiger. And I was looking at this Cassius Clay super close and scouring, zooming in on the images, and it's really hard to tell on images. You got to look close, and you got to know where to look and what to look for. And I'm just like, man, I don't see any indication that this ever had a label on it. And not only that, but if you look closely, you can see, do you see this? You can kind of see, here, I need to get my bearings about me. So going up here and then across here and then back and then this way, there's kind of like a square. There's kind of like a square, almost like, I don't know, faded imprint that you could see. And when I saw that, I immediately recognized that to be the markings that you will sometimes see from when there is a subscription insert on the inside. Whenever you have a subscription insert on the inside, if you're not careful when you press, it'll actually leave that little square imprint on the cover. Or if it's just a magazine that's been sitting and stacked upon for a long time, it will do that. And so I was like, all right, that definitely has a subscription insert on the inside. Now, a subscription insert doesn't guarantee that it's a newsstand. Obviously with the newsstands, they would put those subscription inserts in there because if you bought it off the rack, that was the little insert you could tear out and fill out your info and send it in to sign up for a subscription. They did have those inside some subscriptions as well. So you may have had a subscription already and your magazine still might have had that insert in there, but it's not always as common. I don't think there's as many subscription inserts that were put inside of the subscription magazines. And so I'm like, all right, I'm not seeing a label. I very clearly see a subscription insert in there. I think there's a really good chance that this is an actual newsstand. And with eBay, they have a refund policy where if you think that there's an issue with it or it doesn't match the description, you can return it and get a refund. And so I remember, based on the way it might have said newsstand, I don't remember how it was worded, but all I knew was if I got it and I determined that it actually was a subscription label removed, I was going to be able to send it back and get a refund. So I'm like, all right, I got to take a gamble. I'm going to go for it. I did. I won the auction. I got this one and I got it in my hands, and I was pretty certain that it was definitely a newsstand. So sent it in. 5.0 confirmed for me that it is a newsstand. It is not a subscription label removed. You can see the little inset up there says it says subscription insert, which just shows that there was a subscription insert on the inside. Love this cover from 1963. This is actually the year before Cassius Clay became heavyweight champion. He was in London to fight what was his name? Henry Cooper. And yeah, this was a really fun article to read. about how, Ali went over there, Cassius Clay went over there, and was just the mouthiest dude you could possibly imagine. He was nicknamed the Louisville Lip, and the reporters and the writers all couldn't stand him over there in London, but he backed it up, and he beat Henry Cooper, and then he went on to become heavyweight champion in either February or March of the following year in '64. And right after he won that fight in '64 against Sonny Liston, that's when he announced he was changing his name to Muhammad Ali. So only 29 newsstand copies. That tells you how hard this is to get. The fact that this is a top five at the worst Sports Illustrated cover in terms of collectability, and there's only been 29 newsstand copies. That's very crazy rarity. For comparison's sake, the Mantle is close to 60. The Mickey Mantle is close to 60, and it's 7 years older than this one. But this Ali only has 29 newsstand copies. So this is one of two 5.0s, and there are 24 copies graded higher. Sales, a 3.0 sold in June for $975. So if a 3.0 newsstand sold for $975, that would indicate this 5.0 is probably has a higher value than that. So this is probably a 4-figure slab. And a 9.2 sold in August of 2022 for $13,200. Major collectability. Like I said, this is a grail. Definitely not selling this. We'll be holding on to this one for a very, very long time. Stoked to have the Muhammad Ali first cover in my collection. All right, so you got to be asking yourself, wow, you got the Muhammad Ali first cover. He usually saves his best for last. What could possibly beat that? Well, I'm going to show you right here. Look at that absolute stunner. Mickey Mantle, first cover. I just had one of these in one of my recent unboxing videos, and it was a 3.5 newsstand. Well, this one was an 8.0. And if you have seen I already put a video out on this one. So, you may have already seen the story, but this was a 6.5. I bought this on eBay as a 6.5, and I looked at I was looking at the pictures. I'm like, man, that thing looks way too clean to be a 6.5. I mean, look at the spine. You've got this one little spot right here, and the rest of the spine is there's also a little fade spot right there, but the spine is very clean for a 56 Mantle. The whole cover is very clean. And I just remember looking at that thing and being like, how in the world is that a 6.5? Looked at the grader's notes. I saw that there was something about finger bends. I knew that was a defect that I could potentially improve. So I took the gamble. It was a big gamble. I bought this as a 6.5. I cracked it open. I cleaned it. I pressed it, sent it back in, and 8.0. I projected an 8.0. So I hit it on the head. And honestly, I thought that it actually had a shot to be higher. I would not have been surprised if it came back an 8.5 or even a 9. That's how nice of shape this is. But I went 8.0 because I wanted to be pretty conservative. A jump from a 6.5 to an 8.0 is amazing on this cover. So I projected the 8.0, and that's what I got, and I'm thrilled with that. 59 newsstand copies of this graded. This is a Pop 2 with 17 higher. Yeah. This is not the centerfold variant. This one does not have pages 37 through 40. My other one, my 3.5, is a centerfold variant. This one is not. But yeah, 17 copies higher than this one. So some sales for the Mickey Mantle. We know it's super collectible. A 4.5 sold in July for $2,500. The 6.5 that I snagged, I got for $3,000. And a 9.0 sold in August 2022 for $27,600. So this has become very likely my highest value slab that I own right now. And yeah, I pretty much just knocked out, in my opinion, the number one and the number two top covers here in the same box. Now, there is one bummer about this one, and that is, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it right over here on this corner. Look at this. It came cracked. That sucks. Of all my issues, I mean, none of the other ones in this box were damaged. None of the others in my last couple boxes have been damaged. I did get one box a few months ago where I had to send all 5 back because they were cracked, but I've had really good luck overall with not many of my slabs coming back damaged. And of course, this Mickey Mantle had to come with that corner cracked. So I'm going to have to send this one back, which I really, really hate to do, and get it reslabbed. That's a bummer, but we'll move past that. Having a Mickey Mantle 8.0 is absolutely awesome. So, all right, that is it. Hope you enjoyed that unboxing video, and please like, please comment, please subscribe. Until the next video, we will see you next time.